The reason it didn't work is because I didn't actually add the template. I thought I'd keep this in just so that you can see that anyone can make mistakes. Now, this is a personal thing. You can actually add a template direct to the current OS templates. But in this particular instance, I'm going to remove all the standard ones and simply add the custom template. Where are you? Oh, you're in Utils. I've just downloaded all the templates to the TCT directory. We're going to put in the Win2K3. Now, hopefully. Okay, now we actually have got the filtering on as well. So if you don't see the red icons denote that it's a true control template. So these are all the settings that we're going to be looking at in a moment. Right, let's go down the group policy from top to bottom, and we'll go for the system area. Now, performance options. Generally speaking, file servers will be optimized for background services. So make sure that application is set for your Citrix servers. Then we'll move to next. Now, you'll get certain locks. Now this is an interesting one. The author of these True Control templates is actually Peter Knapp. I'm not sure what link he has with Login Consultants, and his way of saying you really need to know what you're doing is this: only tune when 200% sure. I don't think I've even been 100% sure of anything, but so this particular lock, which you might fancy putting on, these can cause random pauses. I'm quite keen on putting that on. So there's a lazy flush interval. So I'm going to, this can cause rather set this, so I'm going to say no, but I'm almost tempted to put that one on. Let's go to next, and the location of the source files. Now in my particular environment, the i386 files are installed as part of the OS installation. They're available, so if I do a scripted install of any optional components, it's going to find them. But there was one site, a big site, that this wasn't the case, and so I wish I'd have put, in fact there was a build server which we built the images from, and that build server was down, so anytime we added any optional components it couldn't find the source files, fell over, and it took us a while to work out, oh, it's not actually installed the things that we automatically scripted. So if you do have I don't know, maybe a network share with an i386, in my environment it might be something like my file server. Actually I'm going to leave that not configured because my environment's okay. Now I'm not sure what performance that would say, but I'm going to enable that. I do not actually require the last access time to be updated on the file. That probably saves a little. And disable the old DOS 8.3 name convention. I quite like that. I did notice that the Citrix profile management does actually makes it a little bit difficult for it, because it quite often creates a folder name that's longer than that, and it has to use something called an app init registry hook, and that can only be in this DOS 8.3 name creation. So if you're using the Citrix user profile manager, then management bit of software, then it's a good idea to disable that. So you're disabling the disable. Okay. Now this looks like just one setting, but this is the place, and you've probably met really tight government departments that somewhere well up the default domain policy have basically disabled all the services. It's then your job, because you know what you're installing, to just enable the absolute minimum number of services. to get your software to run. So we're going to enable that. The reason we're going to enable it is mostly to see if we can get rid of any extraneous services that we don't really want our terminal service to run. Alerter service. So if you don't want it to run, I want that to be disabled. Sometimes there's certain notifications. Classic example is when you go to the console as an administrator and you have to click through various settings. It might not be the alerter service, as you'll see later, but we're going to disable it as well. Computer browser. Now that's the service where so if you enumerate network neighborhood, you'll see the server names in your network, and unless you're a master browser, which there's no way your Citrix servers ought to be, we don't need that service either, so we're going to disable that. Just moved on too quickly there. The indexing service. Now indexing so that you can search on the server. So are your clients going to be searching across your Citrix server? No, they're probably going to be searching, if anything, on a remote drive. So again, disable the indexing service. DHCP service startup. Again, if you're not going to be running DHCP, which a Citrix server won't be, you'll be running it either on a DC or possibly a separate member server. Again, we can disable the DHCP. Already this server is looking leaner and meaner. The messenger service startup type. Messenger. Well, we could probably disable that, couldn't we? Actually, I'm going to keep that. I don't know whether it actually wants to be manual or automatic. I may just leave that as not. I probably can't leave that as not configured. Let's go to automatic. So sometimes when you're rebooting from the console, sometimes you do actually need to send a message. So let's leave that on. Automatic updates. I personally don't. I do automatic updates from WSUS, but actually for my Citrix servers, I disable the updates. I'm only putting on updates that I've actually scripted, passed through the system. You probably won't do that. You may need to be enabled. That's just the way I'm running here. The run as service, startup type, and yeah, you may well need that. I'm not sure whether that's a manual or automatic. I'll leave it on a manual. Principal as startup, that'll be automatic. Same thing with IMA. If you don't have those starting, you're not going to be printing and you're not going to be doing any Citrix. There's if you don't use telephony, which again I don't, I'm going to disable that one. And that kind of goes together with remote access configuration manager, so I'm going to disable those two. Disable, and there's some RAS performance counters. Obviously if I was using them I wouldn't, but I'm not using them.